Science is not separate from God. It's not God or science. No. Science is the explanation of God's creation, or at least the little part that science understands.
What's up, guys? It's your man, the unapologetic atheist, back again with another video. If you guys remember in the last video that we covered China and McClain, former Disney star turned into TikTok pastor. In the last video we took a look at, she was explaining how we can, tell God's existence just by looking at nature, and she attempted to give us her definition of proofs and evidence of how God existed, just because, babies are alive and buildings have builders, so therefore the world must have a world maker. And we already discussed why those ideologies is wrong. But little did you know that she did continue speaking after that point, and she did make some more claims that I wanted to take a look at with you guys today. So let's just jump right into it.
About it. We've come a long way, over the years when it comes to scientific knowledge, but for everything we know or think we know, there's countless other things that we don't.
So here we have her trying to tell us that the only reason we have science is to explain everything God has created. But if you look at the science independently, without the Bible and without just a worldview, you can see that science doesn't actually tell us how God created all these things. It teaches us that how these things came into existence mostly by themselves, without any external interference. And she makes this claim that a lot of Christians like to make, is we don't know a lot of these things, science still don't have all the answers to everything. But that's actually the beauty of science. Science is a field that is ever expanding. They're learning every day, every week. Whereas in religion, they tell you that they have all the answers for you. You do not need to seek out any more answers. Anybody that is telling you that they have all the answers do not have your best interest at heart, and you need to leave that alone and be able to go out there and find out your own truth for yourself. Let's keep seeing what she has to say.
I'm more interested in why this system exists and who created it. Because something did. We didn't. We can't.
Here again, we have her coming back with the fallacy, or posing the question of who created the universe, when in fact we do not have any evidence that the universe was ever created, but rather came upon itself. Right? So before you can ask the question who created the universe, you must be able to first prove that the universe was created. It's like we said from the last video, you can't just jump to step 3 without acknowledging step 1 and 2. And if in your premise step 1 and 2 is false, then step 3 is automatically false. You see, what they're doing is they're posing questions in a way that's going to get them the response that they want, rather than asking the real questions of how did the universe get to how it is. Right? Because like she said, science is all about, finding answers. That's the whole point of science. Science is the study of everything. Right? But when you go into science with a predetermined mindset, or you already have the answers in your head, like she is going to, that God created it, and I'm just going to go, use science to prove that God created everything, rather than let me see what the science tells me. Right? When you go into a research with an answer already in your mind, you're not going there to learn anything new. Your mind is already made up. You're just looking for things to confirm what you already believe in. And that is not how science works. Science works when you can put your predetermined beliefs aside and can come upon something that challenges that predetermined knowledge that you had, and then you're able to get rid of the ancient knowledge and apply the new knowledge. That is why we have science. Science is not here to explain to us what God is, or how God created everything, or who created something. We are here to find out why everything and how everything is working. Let's keep seeing what she has to say.
We can just study it. Science is knowledge. It is. But knowledge of what? is the most important question. It's knowledge of creation. So I want to step further into what that means. Because it seems like science there, when it comes to certain scientists, science doesn't stop there, but certain scientists stop and they're just like, oh, well, those questions, we don't want to ask those questions. Well, we should. Because the answer to those questions is what's holding the meaning of life and the peace that so many people are looking for in life. It holds so many spiritual answers, so many answers to so many questions that we have spiritually.
Clearly, Google is not accessible to her because clearly, if it was, she would have just Googled what is science, and Google will tell you science is not the knowledge of anything. Science is the study of, not the knowledge of. It's the study of. Science studies things. It doesn't know anything. It studies everything. It tries to understand what's happening around us. So when she says science is the knowledge of creation, no, that's the Bible. The Bible is knowledge of creation because that's the only place you will find creation. You will not be able to find anything remotely related to creation in the natural world because, like, once again, we are just not made that way. The way that creation is described in the Bible is just 100% in the contrary to what everything we know about natural selection, mutation, and everything that we've learned over the past 100 years when it's come to modern medicine. And she also mentions that, if science that wants to keep going further, but certain sciences, they don't want to ask the hard questions that will get us the answers that will heal us spiritually and all of that. And that's not the purpose of science. The purpose of science is not to guide you on a spiritual path or anything like that. Science is here to try to explain the natural world, not the spiritual world. So if she's talking about we're not posing the right questions to help people with their save them, what are these questions that she wants us to be asking? Because if you really think about it, a lot of our advancements that we've made in science is because we've put away the Bible. We've literally seen something in the Bible and say, no, that's not how it works. And then we came up with our own solutions, right? Because if you're going to according to the Bible, right, like most people were, the sun is the center of the not the sun, I'm sorry. The earth is the center of the universe, and the sun revolves around the earth because that's how the Bible has it relayed to people. So it's not until we learn to put the Bible aside and then, we start studying stuff on our own and be like, okay, rather than just saying God did everything, maybe there's a more natural explanation to this. So she's just gonna keep repeating the same things over and over without actually giving any actual evidence. And this is what they do. They just put out a bunch of points that sound good, don't provide any evidence, and just hope that, nobody ever checks anything like that and that it's going to keep going. No, that's not how this works. And especially when you're talking about helping people, who feel like they're going through something. Because most of the time when people turn to religion, it's not because, everything in their life is going great. It's because they truly feel like they need help. And when you come to them and tell them, hey, you need help and I have the answers for you, but these are the answers that you're giving them, these lies, you're gaslighting them basically, you're not helping them. You're actually putting them in a worse situation than they were before. So this is why we need to get rid of all these ideologies about these things, because science is helping and God is hurting. Let's keep going.
When we only focus on our logical minds and what our logical minds tell us, but we turn off our spiritual intellect so that they're not working in tandem because they're supposed to. You're only going off of what your logical mind tells you, things that you have seen, things that you've been told. Only that. Without this, it will blind you to so many things around you.
So this is the part of the video that I really wanted to show you guys. So I'm gonna give you guys a little bit more backstory about myself. Growing up in a super conservative Christian household, I was always taught to not rely on logic, but rather on what God said, God's word. Right? It's like you're never supposed to be logical with God. Do not question God. God knows all and everything. So you're not supposed to use your own logic. But it's when I started using my logic, questioning certain things that I was being told that didn't sit right with me, that's when I was able to learn the truth and get out and save myself. And they don't do this accidentally. They don't want you to use your logic. They don't want you to think, hey, this is not adding up, this is not making sense, because they want to be able to keep you in that controlled state where they have 100% autonomy over you. That's the whole point of this thing, is to keep you under their control. And we gotta be able to say, no, I will not be controlled by you. So she's gonna tell us a story about, why you shouldn't trust your logic, and how you should just trust your spiritual intellect, which is something that she says that we all have, and that is supposed to work in tandem with the brain or with our logic. But where is the proof for that? Because there is a proof for the brain and logic, but where's the proof for a spiritual intellect, and how does one attain one? I would like to know. Let's see how she explained this away.
And when I say spiritual intellect, I'm going to give you a quick example, and then I'm going to be quiet before I wake my family up. Say you're driving down a road and it's late. It's like now, when I'm filming this, like 3 o'clock in the morning. And so there aren't a lot of people on the road, but you come to a red light at some point, so you stop. You wait for cars, and might be 1 or 2 cars that pass in front of you. But then the light turns green. You don't see or hear anyone. Light's green, really no one around. What does your logical mind tell you to do? It tells you to go, right? Don't go past the speed limit, but go ahead and go at a good pace through that light. So that's what you start to do. But you get a feeling all of a sudden, a strong feeling, to not race through the light at your normal pace, but to creep, go slowly. And because this feeling is so strong, for some unexplained reason, you listen to it over your logical mind that's telling you there's nobody around, you don't see or hear anything, it's dangerous, go. But you listen to that feeling, so you creep. And just as you're creeping out, this huge truck just, boom, plows through and passes right in front of your car. They ran the red light. And if you had gone at your normal pace, like your logical mind was telling you to do, you'd have been right in the path of that truck.
So here we go again with apologetics and their analogies. Apologetics, they love their analogies that never add up to anything. So let's just take a look at her analogy, right? So let's say it's 3 a.m., right? And you're in the middle, you're driving somewhere, and you pulled up at a red light. And now the red light for you turns green, so it turns red for the other intersection, right? So according to her, your logical mind is gonna tell you to go. I don't know about you guys, but when I was first learning how to drive, one of the first things I was taught was that even when the light turned green, do not automatically go. You're supposed to wait like 3 seconds, because there's most likely somebody who's trying to catch a yellow who's probably going to be speeding down. And me, growing up in New York City, that happened all the time. So we learned, when the lights turn green, wait a couple seconds and then go, right? But according to her analogy, you just had an intuition, or like you had a gut feeling, and that's the spirit, that's the spiritual world talking to you, telling you to stop. That's not your logical mind telling you, so you should be able to listen to your spiritual guide speaking to you, and you have that feeling that you shouldn't go. But my question is, right, if that spiritual guide has this power to, make me feel things, to be able to know not to go, why doesn't it just talk to me and tell me, hey, there's a speeding truck coming on? Or better yet, why doesn't this same spiritual thingy just go to the truck driver who's speeding about to run past a red light and just stop them? Why must I get a feeling, right? Which I get feelings all the time and I ignore most of them, right? So let's say I ignore this feeling that I get, because it's 3 a.m. and I want to get home, and I just ignore the feeling. I'm just supposed to die, and that's just okay because I trusted my logic rather than some mysterious feeling I was feeling at 3 in the morning. Is this their logic to like of how we know God exists? This is not it, Chief. You need to come stronger than that.
You sitting there like, I am so happy I listened to that feeling. That's that spiritual intellect. People call it intuition. Like it comes from us, but we can't give ourselves knowledge that we didn't have a second ago. Like, do you understand how thermonuclear astrophysics works? No, I don't either. Can you explain it to yourself real quick? Can you teach it to yourself so that you can teach me? Because I'm curious.
So after making a bad faith argument, she then, tries to compare it to teaching yourself something instantaneously. Just because, you don't drive automatically when the light is green because, you think, hey, maybe somebody else might be coming, it's not the same as just teaching yourself something out of the blue. It's like you take it's common sense, right? If you're at a red light and it just turned green, common sense tells you wait a couple of seconds. That's it. Common sense is not going to teach you thermonuclear physics, but common sense will tell you to just stop and just wait a little bit longer. So what they try to do is just try to like make everything seem the same. She brings up one argument and then tries to equate it to the other, and then hopefully nobody will notice. That's not what we're here for, China. We're gonna notice these things. Let's keep going.
We can't teach ourselves things that we don't know. We need somebody to teach us. God is my teacher. That's how I'm able to sit here and tell you guys these things. I don't know these things until I say them most of the time. Because he gives me the knowledge because I'm supposed to tell you. He's real. That spiritual intellect is important. Up against your logical mind, it just saved your life. When what your logical mind was telling you off of things that it's learned, it heard from observations and whatever it's taken in through your life, it had gotten you killed or seriously injured.
So she mentions that spiritual intellect is God's way of communicating the unknown to us. So the only way God can speak to us is by sending us feelings. Isn't he an all powerful almighty God who used to speak to people through bushes and open the heavens? Now he just speaks to us through feelings, and that's supposed to save our lives. And we're supposed to be all grateful because God gave us the feeling, right? So what happens, to that person who doesn't get that feeling? So God is just not doesn't want to communicate with them, and it's okay for them to die because God wanted them home. When you try to use God as your explanation for everything, if you just take it to the logical conclusion, you literally see it crumbles. We're almost done. She just has a couple more things to say. Let's just hear her out.
God loves us, all of us. Doesn't matter what we've been through. Doesn't matter how we're currently living our lives. No one's better than the other. No one's worse off than the other. No, we're all human, and we're all struggling every day with something. We're all in the same boat. None of us are in the position to be judging each other. The only human being that has ever walked the face of this earth that has been better, that has been good, is Jesus. But it's not about a religion. I'm not telling y'all, hey, join a religion, Christian up. Come on. I'm not telling you to do that. It's not about that. That relationship with God through his son, Jesus Christ, that personal relationship that church can't give you, another person can't give you. You have to make a decision to go and seek that out with God. And spend that time, just listening and getting connected, learning who he is. Because you can't learn who he is and not love him. God is real. I'm telling you, God is real. I have no reason to lie about it. The choice comes in as to whether or not you want to get to know him. You know, whether you want to build a relationship with him through his son, through Jesus. That's your choice. And nobody can take it away from you, and nobody can force it on you. It's your choice and your choice alone. Hopefully I didn't wake anybody up, but I'm going to go ahead and go. I love you guys. I'll talk to you soon.
So she mentions how she doesn't want anybody to, join the religion and anything like that, but she just wants everybody else, have a personal relationship with Christ. But you can only have a personal relationship with Christ if you're in the religion, though. Like, the whole point of the religion is to have a personal relationship with Christ. And now she's trying to get you to believe that the only way for you to be happy or to experience anything happy in life is through Jesus Christ, which we have already learned, which is not true. We must stop letting people like this tell us how to live our life, and we must be better than this, guys. And once again, this has been your boy, the Unapologetic Atheist. This has been another reaction video to China and McClain. Let me know what you guys want to see me react to next, or if you guys want to see me get back into my stories explained, because I do have another one of those videos coming out very soon. I'm going to see you guys on the flip side. Out.